Yeah, yeah. I'm curious too your thoughts on feminism. Obviously, Myron's very outspoken on that. Do you think feminism is as big of an issue as like Myron kind of says it is? And what do you think could be done about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just as much of an issue as he makes it out to be. And you can never talk about it enough. Honestly, I think that feminism is probably the biggest issue that's plagued our society in recent history ever since it really took full storm and covered ground in the 60s and moving onwards, although it has earlier roots and those roots stem from a certain place. But I've got to be careful because of YouTube. But I can always break that down one day in an alternate platform.
Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah,
though, feminism is a huge issue. Feminism is the main derivative for why the nuclear family no longer exists. And that's something that directly supplements our economy, our way of life, and our moral high ground in regards to the rest of the world. Our birth rate is plummeting, and it's really just because of feminism. Women taking their own initiative sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work when it's applied in real life, and it's not tangible whatsoever. And so I think that a lot of the degradation of society has been because of feminism. And I think voices like Myron, voices like others who are very vocal on this issue, do a really good job in waking up as many men as we can gain a reach to or gain access to in order to kind of make them aware and reverse that. And it's on us as men to add some reversing effects in the way we carry ourselves and holding our frame and choosing the right women and imposing the correct stipulations in our relationships and our marriages. And, slowly but surely, if we get every guy on the same page, we can hopefully slow feminism down to where our birth rate can increase and United States can prosper organically as a country that has plenty of not only white people who are not having any birth, but everybody else. Because if you see immigrants who come here, they have an explosion in birth rate, right? So, like, let's say a Mexican family moves to the United States. What we see in the literature is that they have maybe 5 or 6 kids, so many more than the average American family, especially the white one. But after a generation, when they're Americans, even if they're anchor babies, they have less kids. And so it seems to be really an American issue. And I think that stems from our matriarchal society and our habits.
yeah. How do you think we got to this point where men are so weak where they pretty much let women like walk all over them? Like men are so horny nowadays and willing to do absolutely anything for the approval of a woman that they're gonna let them walk all over them, make the stipulations in the relationship, and pretty much like say yes, ma'am, to literally everything. It's almost like the roles have been completely reversed in society. And how do you think men could kind of come back to being men and like having the male position, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like the leader position. Like why are we in a spot right now where women are leading everything in society? It's like when has that ever worked, you know?
Well, a good generalized answer is that the very people who have imposed feminism and pushed for it very hard have a disproportionate amount of control in our politics and our culture. And so
Yeah,
that's one of the
Israel.
biggest reasons, if not the biggest, exactly, precisely. But
Yeah,
even
yeah.
outside of that, there's men to blame, and we're the second biggest people to blame as well. And the reason why is because of women having a lot of control in society, men find themselves kind of at their knees or at bay, looking up to women, fighting an uphill battle. And instead of holding themselves and not worrying about the approval or how women will feel about them, we tend to succumb to our own biological desires, our own biological instincts in order to please women. And that kind of cucks us in a way. And that's been perpetuated and it's grown over time from the 60s up until now. So when women have large amount of influence in politics, in Congress, TikTok, Instagram, whatever have you, or even Hollywood, you find men not being able to actually impose or go against the things they say. Otherwise, they face this cancellation. Something that my brother's gone through, something that Sneako's gone through, Zerka, Nick, all these big guys in the space, highly successful voices, but they have been ostracized by a large majority of women because of their views. And of course, there's lots of women who love a based guy and they won't admit it, but it will definitely get you a mainstream media shock in terms of cancellation if you stand against women and oppose matriarchy. So I think it's a lot of guys who are just afraid to
Yeah.
say the truth. And I think my brother
Mhm.
and these other guys in the right wing space, or even, this manosphere space, are shadow watchers of my brothers and the other voices that have gone against feminism, but they just don't want to admit that. And I think that's what
Yeah.
needs to change is men need to grow some balls and actually say how they
Yeah.
feel. And women will have no choice but to operate around that because physically we are stronger than them. And so if we can win at the debate table, that's as far as it ever needs to go.